to me, like, it's Ohio State and then it's everybody else. That's just what it is. And they've earned that right too. Because of the fact that they're national champions, because of the fact that they're undefeated right now. And you could say they haven't been tested. That ain't an Ohio State problem. That's not their problem. They've been doing their job. They've been going in these games. They've been blowing doors off this inferior competition that they've been playing. So if you guys are new to the page and new to listening to the college football podcast that I do here, first off, hit that subscribe button. Thank you for tuning in. But second off, we start off every episode by talking about the best program in the country, the best team in the country, the national champions from last year, who are going to be the national champions this year, and that's the Ohio State Buckeyes. And again, I call them the team that never disappoints. And guess what they didn't do yesterday? Disappoint, just like they've been doing, for the entire season and at the latter part of last season. You want to know what's crazy about Ohio State? They didn't have Carnell Tate in this game, and they didn't have Jeremiah Smith for an entire half. And even in the first half, he didn't really play that much. But you saw how good their receiver room is and how deep they are. They have two waves of receivers that if you're playing 11 personnel, they have starting receivers on both sets. You talk about the starting unit with Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, and Brandon Ennis. And then you go to their second unit where they have Mylan Graham, Bryson Rogers, Quincy Porter. I mean, you're talking about that second unit could start in 11 personnel on a lot of SEC teams out there. That's how good they are at receiver. That's how loaded they are in that room. And even in this game where, no Jeremiah Smith, no Carnell Tate, they still proved that they can move the ball. And what I was really impressed by was the fact that they ran the ball really effectively. I mean, you're talking about 4 touchdowns on the ground, the much maligned Ohio State running game. They proved it yesterday. And even though Julian Sayin didn't have his best stuff yesterday, he was still efficient enough to move the ball consistently and get this offense in the red area and to put points on the board. So that's where I just come away so impressed with Ohio State, is that they could beat you in so many different ways. There's not necessarily a great way to beat them. Nobody in the country really matches up with Ohio State. And another thing I want to talk about, by the way, I saw a take this week, and I just have so little respect for the guy who made this take. So, dunking on this guy is very fun. Wacky Dan Orlovsky said that the Ohio State Buckeyes, we don't know how good of a team they are because they haven't played that good of competition. But he was probably somebody who was hyping up Arch Manning in the preseason as the number 1 overall pick in this upcoming draft. That's besides the point, though. Do you have eyes? Do you see the players on this roster? Julian Sayin is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Jeremiah Smith is one of the best college wide receivers of all time. Carnell Tate is a first-round pick receiver. And then you look at their second unit with their receivers, stacked. You look at their tight end, Max Clare, NFL player. You go to their defense, NFL players everywhere on that defense. Caleb Downs, Arvell Reese, the defensive line, Sonny Styles. What are we talking about here? I get it. They haven't played great competition, but we can open our eyes and see the eye-popping talent that is clearly on display with Ohio State. We see teams all the time play competition that are like UCLA and like Minnesota and like Washington, and they don't look like Ohio State looks against them. Why? Because they're not Ohio State. They don't have the guys that Ohio State does. And mind you, this is not a program that hasn't proven anything. They're the national champions from last year. So I don't know what wacky Dan Orlovsky is talking about here. And I honestly think he needs to stick to covering the Buffalo Bills, because we all know the only thing he's good at doing is talking about Josh Allen. But that's besides the point, because I just thought that was really funny that he decided to come to that take when he's trying to establish a presence in college football. And it's like, really? You're going after Ohio State? I don't know, man. That's a choice. But that's besides the point. The thing is with Ohio State, and this is where I give Ryan Day so much credit, is that Ryan Day is genuine. He's not trying to be something that he's not. He's not trying to be one of these coaches where he's like, we're winning by 30 plus points. You guys aren't doing good enough. That's not him. Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator, when you see that guy on the sidelines, he just exudes confidence. Like, if you're an Ohio State fan, how confident are you when you roll up into a game and they're showing the coaches and you see Ryan Day, you see Matt Patricia, you see Brian Hartline, you know that not only do you have the better football team on the field, you have the better coaching staff on the sidelines. We see this all the time. LSU this year is as talented as any team in the country, but we saw what happened when they didn't have the right guy on the sidelines. The right guy, because they have a great defensive coordinator there with Blake Baker, but they didn't have the guy at head coach or at offensive coordinator. Ohio State, that's not the case. They're the most talented team in the country. They're the most well-coached team in the country. There's no flaws with this football team. And I don't care about, they haven't played anybody. Okay, Georgia didn't play anybody in their national championship run, right? When the SEC was divided into two separate divisions, nobody talked about that. We were like, oh man, Georgia's really good. And that's how I feel about Ohio State. They're just a really damn good football team. And they're a team that has proven that they can show up in the big spots. They're not a program that hasn't been there before. This is not Penn State doing this. This is Ohio State. This is right now the best program in the country. They've been there. They've done that. The things that people think Indiana and Texas A&M and Georgia can do this year, even though Georgia's already done it, because they won back-to-back national champions. So I guess I should take them out of this. The things that people think Texas A&M and Indiana can do, Ohio State's done that. I don't know. I haven't seen them really even tested this year. And I get it. You could talk about the competition. All right, fine, cool. I saw Indiana struggle against Penn State the week after Ohio State blew the doors off Penn State. Like, that's where I'm coming from with Ohio State. What team in the country are you looking at and you say, wow, they match up band for band with Ohio State? None. There's not a team in the country that does. Like Indiana, they have some nice pieces. They're a really damn good football team. They're not Ohio State. Texas A&M, they have some really good pieces. They're not Ohio State. Georgia has some really good pieces. They're not Ohio State. There's no team in the country that comes close to this team. Everybody is fighting for second place when it comes to Ohio State. And wacky Dan Orlovsky can say whatever he wants. Oh, well, we'll know about this team when they're down by 4. Hey, Orlovsky, they're not going to be down by 4, my guy. They're not going to be down by 4. They're going to, it's to me like it's Ohio State and then it's everybody else. That's just what it is. And they've earned that right too. Because of the fact that they're national champions, because of the fact that they're undefeated right now. And you could say they haven't been tested. That ain't an Ohio State problem. That's not their problem. They've been doing their job. They've been going in these games. They've been blowing doors off this inferior competition that they've been playing. That ain't their fault. So, again, another week goes by and another week where Ohio State just proves once again that they're just head and shoulders above everybody else. And everybody will see that come college football playoff time where we hear the stupid narratives about Ohio State hasn't played anybody. And then you want to know what Ohio State's going to do? All these teams that, they might give them a problem. Ohio State's going to go in there and blow them out by 20 plus points. Because that's just what they are. They're better than everybody else. And it's their year this year. They're going to repeat. And maybe next year a team could, surpass them. But it's not going to be this year.